10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Ten seconds remaining.
Oh. Dazzle!
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Ten seconds remaining.
Tiny.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
The undying waits.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Ah. Slaughter.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Prepare for battle.
Well, that's the plan anyway. I've got Ben Merlini Wu, commonly known as BDB to many of his friends. Ben, what do you think?
How do you like those cosmetics, man?
Yeah, you like the...
Are you jealous?
I am a little bit jealous. You know, I wish I had a Doom rocking like this. The setup here, do you really agree? Nahaz is very much set. The VP, like, he's like ready to double down 100%. Let's go. VP win game 2. Do you feel the same kind of confidence?
After the way we saw game 1 go, it stands to reason that VP is just well-oiled, whereas EG is like, we don't really know what works yet, at least not for us. And they had a very defined playstyle in 6.84, and right now they are struggling. And on top of that, they're struggling to incorporate Arteezy well into the lineup.
Alright, VP actually going to go for the top rune, which forces EG now to battle it out for the bottom rune, but this gives an opportunity for G to be able to sag the bounty rune away from Universe, and he is actually quite successful. Gets that one, a huge lead now over the Doom. We're going to have the mid lane also pick up the other bounty rune. That's going to be Lil getting his bottle immediately.
They need a custom map like that. You have like 2 heroes on the rune, and you try and right-click and beat the other one out. That'd be awesome.
That's all it is. It's just a 30-second custom game where you just click bounty rune.
Hey, that comes in useful. It's like half a level.
I mean, it is. And to wrap things up, we actually have VP running the Dazzle Slardar lane, which we've seen actually in this tournament, as the dual off lane, really powerful, and allows the Slardar to get that faster blink dagger to really pressure the enemy.
All their heroes have really low armor. Lion 1, Ember 1, Doom 0,
yeah,
Undying 3, and Wind Ranger 2.
Yeah, I particularly like the Slardar versus Doom matchup. I feel that actually takes advantage. Like, this hero is supposed to be so tanky, and Scorched Earth is such an abusive ability right now, and once you get it up to level 4. But if you're able to cut him down to size with that armor and actually just burst him down with physical damage, he actually becomes much easier to deal with.
Yeah, once Ember gets amped, you just can't go in man fight. You can only pretty much do damage with Sleight of Fist, or else you're just gonna get whacked to death.
You know,
to death.
I kind of feel like we saw this sort of situation before with an Undying, where the Undying doesn't really have like a true place in where he's going to be at. Like, he's serving as just a harasser to G, but he's just kind of keeping him low on...
shady.
Oh, Samael's going to be in some trouble. They managed to get the stun out, and the chains follow up, and Samael will get out. He's going to be forced to blow through his healing salve at this rate.
And Slaughter has equal CS as Emperor Spirit, so not terribly great for them. Do you agree that it should have been Arteezy on the Wind Ranger and Sumail on the Ember Spirit, or should they have swapped it up? Arteezy's Ember Spirit is notorious.
Yeah.
But he actually had a pretty good one, minus that one game that he is infamous for.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he just doesn't want to add to that legacy any further. And just figures, okay, we'll play the Wind Ranger. The matchup is a bit difficult in this middle lane, but if any mid hero is going to be able to deal with Tiny, I feel like Wind Ranger, of the range heroes anyway, is going to be one of the best. You also have heroes like Bristleback that we've seen before run solo mid against this dual lane.
Undying's generally viewed as a pretty good counter to Wisp, because Wisp is already pretty squishy, so if you like decay him once and then Finger, he's pretty much almost dead.
Yeah.
But you need the Undying actually there versus the Wisp in the early game, and the time that Undying was viewed as super popular versus Wisp was back in the Try-on-Try era. And now that lanes have kind of evolved into a 2-1-2, as well as Wisp almost mostly being run in the mid lane, Undying is not seen as that much of a threat to the Wisp anymore.
Wisp, thanks to the Illusion Rune, is able to both stay in lane and also stack up that hard camp, which we'll see them farm up a little bit later. And I really love seeing the Wisp Tiny on the Radiant side, just because of the fact that you're able to... Man, you weren't lying about those decays. Look at poor Wisp, he's at 340 max HP right now.
That's okay. When you're at 200 HP, you're like deceptively high. It's like, oh, they're not going to go for a kill. He's like almost full health.
And you also get those values out of the Tango.
Oh yeah.
Like, look at the regen. It's actually popping up so quickly. All right, we got Tranquil Boots.
Did he eat a ward? Did he eat his own ward? What's going on?
We got Tranquil Boots finished up now for the Slardar. So he'll actually have a lot more room to play with in this lane. He can actually be a lot more aggressively and trade hit for hit and fall back on that passive regen.
Oh, we might see a brawl on the top rune. It's going to be 3 heroes for VP.
Oh, but do they really want to go up against him dying like this? He's already laid out the tombstone. They're desperate to be able to pick up this rune. Nice Shadow Wave. That actually brings Arteezy low, but he is able to win run himself away. The zombie apocalypse is just chasing down the rest of VP, but it looks like they should be fine as the next heal is coming up in time. They're actually going to turn on to Fear, who actually managed to get another good decay, but with Peter coming in, doesn't look like they can pursue. And, no, the stun? Do they have enough damage? Illidan's trying to chase him down. Peter only gets a stun on one, but he managed to get the Hex now onto Illidan. DK Phobos now going to try and run down Fear, who has very little mana left, enough for one more decay. Is it going to be enough for him to be able to survive? It looks like they do get the kill on PPD, while Fear, a bash up means he's not going to escape from that one. And VP walk away big, first blood and a double kill there at the same time as being able to pick up the rune. It seems like it was a good idea to challenge the Undying, though, in the beginning of that fight, I wasn't quite so sure.
You know what would have won EG that fight?
What's that?
Some more practice in the custom right-click bounty rune. That actually made a big difference.
What was the rune?
It was a bounty rune.
Oh, bounty rune?
But they were able to sustain Tiny and just feed him mana because of the bottle charges.
Yeah, as soon as they went up that cliff area, right? They started healing up. They turned around on Fear.
Yeah, pretty much whoever picks up the rune is going to win that fight.
Yeah. Universe is going to showcase the strength of the early levels of Scorched Earth. That's 36 damage a second, plus he has the phase boots, so he just runs so much faster.
It's one of the toughest matchups for Co-op in the safe lane.
Yeah.
I feel like you just cannot out-harass them, and you don't have as much rune control as you normally do, so you can't, use your bottle, Shadow Strike, and then rinse and repeat.
By the way, this eating the Stone Golem is probably one of the most ridiculous, laning phase 1 versus 1 matchup abilities you can get.
She tried to blink dodge.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah.
Are you able to destroy it, the boulder? But yeah, it's ridiculous because there's no mana cost. It's a 30-second cooldown, but he could just keep throwing boulders at the Queen of Pain over and over again.
Pearl Boulder.
What an ability. Slardar's about to pick up his level 6.
They need some consistency in the names, though. Breathe Fire. Most fantasy games would name it Breath of Fire.
And then you've got the Slardar abilities.
Toss should be Hurl Hero.
Well, the toss forward, Arteezy. That was kind of a risky play, but I guess they just wanted to put some damage on Artur and do force out the win run.
Or take some damage on Wisp.
Oh, that's also true for the heal, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's important to get Wisp low.
Yeah.
Actually, and you'll see the better Wisps, they'll run up and tank right clicks even from the tower sometimes, just so they can get maximum efficiency out of that. tether.
And you don't. Sometimes you don't want to just overcharge because that actually takes away from your mana for the spirits a lot of the time. So I can see that.
Oh, Slim Shady, he was just at, or Sumail, he was just at full HP and just gets heal bombed, no armor, and it's taken down to like 30% HP.
Yeah, they're able to just kind of pressure him.
Yeah, when your CS is this close on your Slardar versus your Ember Spirit, that's setting up for a very bad game for Ember Spirit.
Yeah.
He is a fantastic Ember Spirit player, but it's going to be hard for him to like dodge crushes, you know, not die to Queen of Pain Sonic Wave, not get comboed by Tiny, and you need a lot of farm to compensate for that. And generally he goes for treads as opposed to the newer school boost to travel, and I think he might actually need the HP from the treads this game as opposed to the efficiency from BOTs.
The rest of the CS, Illidan is doing fine. They've actually haven't cleared out that hard camp, so considering the fact that he's top of the CS board, a very good sign for VP, as all three of their lanes are doing quite well.
They're pressuring the mid tower right now. RTZ kind of forced to trade a lot of farm to get these runes, but it's a good rune for him. Fourth.
How does G even stay in this lane now that there's like a level 6 Doom? I mean, he has a very high level advantage, but...
Well, Doom can't... Doom's like not going to die in this lane unless there's ganks, so
Yeah.
he's just trying to get farm as much as he can.
Well, I was more thinking like, isn't it just so easy now that you've got... Well, as soon as you get like level 7 Scorched Earth, you ever just get close enough to pop the Doom.
Oh, Wisp can TP. I think Wisp is actually a really good pick versus the Doombringer because you have to be able to kill the Wisp soon. So if Lion doesn't finger or he doesn't get shackled, it's very unlikely that Doom's actually going to kill anyone. And when you have right-click heroes like Slardar and Tiny, you don't really care if you're doomed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Though the relocate's actually going to come in. I was just about to say, they were able to pick up a pretty fast level 6 through clearing that. No, the toss forward, but DK Bobo's unable to get off the stun. At least they get the avalanche. That stalls things up quite significantly. Sumail's going to come in for the kill onto Lil, but nice Shallow Grave, and they will be able to get Lil out of here alongside the Slardar, but FNG is kind of stuck, left behind essentially. And Illidan, oh, the Hurl Boulder! It almost got to him, but Illidan managed to TP back just in time.
That was a sick stun by the Lion right there.
Yeah.
That saved his life. He threw a mid toss.
They managed to get the toss stun combination on the Slardar. That just would have been a quick pick off on the Lion, and VP would have happily retreated from there.
Also, really fast reactions from Ember Spirit. I'm surprised they're not focusing more on RTZ. I think who's a lot more vulnerable to the toss combination, especially as underfarmed as he is. But that was also without the Queen of Pain, and Queen of Pain gets a lot of breathing rune on bottom now that Doom is forced to rotate and not actually get a kill with Doom. And it looks like he's going for a Hand of Midas.
Yeah, you and I were kind of talking about before how during the drafting phase how Doom is pretty heavily countered here. As you mentioned before, you have the Wisp, right, that is able to offset a lot of that damage over time via the tether and heal, but you also have the Dazzle as well, whose heal over time via Shadow Wave is actually a good way to counter out that damage as well.
What is Illidan smoke for? Who's going to do Ancients at this time? Wind Ranger, maybe?
I guess Wind Ranger, but that doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah, you rarely smoke for just a Lion kill, though, so they must have expected someone to do the Ancients.
Oh, the toss forward, Lil? Okay, that's not what Lil wanted to happen. Now Universe is going to be able to get the boulder onto Illidan and starts chasing him down. They're going to have the TP in of the Dazzle to try and help this situation out, and it looks like Illidan will survive because of that one. G just going to take some damage before he's forced to blink away, and literally just thrown to the wolves. That he just threw Lil at a tier 2 tower area. Looks like the fight's still going to commence though, as the tombstone is laid out by a nice shackle shot. Controls FNG, still managed to get off the shallow grave. No TP out though, so it looks like he's probably going to go down here. The last right click, Fear, he's going to be able to pick it up on the side. Illidan paired up with Lil, toss forward, trying to burst down Sumail, but not quite enough damage, so they're going to go for the kill onto Lil. They managed to miss the shackle shot. No, they actually landed, but still, they managed to get the relocate back out. Sonic Wave actually clears through Sumail nice and quick. Now they're going to go into Universe as well. The next stun is coming up for DK Phobos shortly, but not in time as PPD is able to hit the stun and stalls up the fight long enough for EG to escape.
I have no idea how Lil has been surviving these fights. Ember Spirit goes on him almost every single time, realizing the importance of Lil sustain in order for VP to win every fight, and he gets Remnant on, he has level 3 Flame Guard, gets chains with level 3, that's a lot of damage, and Power Shot immediately after. This time he didn't have a grave to save him.
Now, what do you think about the Tiny builds here? Looks like he's going Shreds and he's got the Bracer. I've seen a lot of Tinies will still go for the Blink Dagger and just have the Value Bracer, not complete the drums. But you do have the Blink of the Slaughter. Is it better to double down on Blinks and just get mass initiation in this game? Or do you think just the Slaughter having the Blink and having your Tiny commit for the earlier carry build is better for DP?
I think versus an Ember Spear, you want as many instant initiations as possible. And Blink Crush isn't quite instantaneous because of the cast point on Crush.
Right.
But with a Blink Toss, you can get a jump and actually have the Slardar follow up on the Tiny as opposed to the other way around.
Right.
And on that top fight, you saw how they didn't go on the Ember Spirit because they knew that he was going to jump away even after the tosses. So it's kind of just insurance versus the Ember Spirit. Also, it's good versus the Wind Ranger. No cast point on Wind Run, and you just have to be able to get those. And you can also split push pretty easily, especially with Doom not going for a Blink Dagger himself.
Right.
I think you go for a Blink here. Although they're hitting a point where like they have a Blink on Slaughter and then a Blink on Tiny, and the net worth is only 2,500. So if EG actually dodged like 1 or 2 ganks, they might actually be able to catch up.
Oh, the shackle shot. RGZ lands it beautifully. Now G is going to be caught as PPD gets in time just for the Hex before the Blink is out, and EG actually rotating so many heroes with what was essentially a guaranteed kill. But that
really
probably
close.
means they want to push in the tier 1 towers. Fear. Oh, the balls. Don't let him hit you. No, Undying. Chase down to the tier 2 tower with EG's massive rotations up to the top lane. They can't TP and save Fear.
A point of note is that Arteezy also picked up level 3 Shackle over level 4 Power Shot. If he didn't have level 3 Shackle, she would have been able to blink right there because of the 3-second TP time. So that's a smart choice by him.
Is the what about the Blink Dagger for the Wind Ranger? Because we have a lot of these, you know, sort of instant blinks.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You already have an instant. Oh,
Illidan, he's gonna be saved by Lil. Good relocate out.
I mean, we see GTPing in. They might try and bait him out over here. They do have an Observer Ward. They know who's standing around.
DK Phobos can definitely come back in. Let's see. They're gonna TP the Tiny in and still try and fight this one out. Lil does get bursted down though before he can get off the tether. And now VP are in an awkward situation with Illidan rather far forward, but G is sitting on the side here with his invis. This could be a great opportunity for them to get the surprise burst. But Universe is just a bit too tanky, especially with that Scorched Earth, healing him up over time. Arteezy is going to find, they're going to jump in. DK Phobos is going to be the target, and they do manage to burst him down nice and fast. So it's going to be kind of a trade-off for that Wisp, and Arteezy, well, he does pick up the haste rune. Perhaps if it was a little bit sooner, they could have actually fought around that middle tier 1 tower, but as it is, Artur, seeing the Doom down, is going to farm up the top lane instead.
We've seen the ability to have vision. Like it's so important in this particular patch with so many spells not giving as much vision as before. And in that particular case, Sara with the amp, probably not realizing that they were.
Another great shackle shot, and just in range, PPD max range there with the Earth Spike and the follow-up Hex.
It's probably
jumping. Oh, nice. 2-man stun with Weave over the top. TK Phobos. Oh, what a big shadow wave out from the Dazzle. FNG playing that one beautifully. Locks down the Wind Ranger. And I was looking at that situation going, the Wind Ranger was just going to be able to Wind Run and pop the haste and run away.
Relocate at 1. This is going to be bad for EG.
Oh, yes, it is. The relocate's actually going to come into the trees. PPD sets up the stun very nicely, and that'll stall up the Massacre, but it's only a delay as it seems like these heroes are still going to go down. Never mind, DK Phobos actually runs headlong into Samael, and the rest of these heroes, FNG, try and go for the deny, but he's still too healthy, so that means he's just left for Samael to pick up the kill instead.
Still a buyback from Arteezy.
Yeah.
A good scepter timing, I think, is like 15 minutes for Wind Ranger, and all he has is point booster and face.
So that's going to be a long time coming. Plus, VP managed to force a lot of rotations by EG up to the top lane, which means, especially with relocate back down to bottom, they're free to push out of tier 1.
And Undying has kind of limited their early game impact from VP, but now he's starting to fall off and the blinks are starting to take over, and Undying's going to be more and more worthless as the game goes on. So this is
going to be able to defend this?
A bad precedent.
I was going to say, there was some TPs out, but there was no glyph. So not an opportunity to fight around that tier 1 tower. Universe is going for more of a stat kind of carry build, not the blink as you were talking about before, but goes for the minus now into the drums.
He needs to tank up. Like, he has to be up in front so that they can't constantly use their blinks. Ideally, you have Undying do that, but he doesn't have a mech, so he is still like super squishy at this point. And Tiny, I think, is kind of the only hero Doom is the only hero that can kind of get comboed and still live.
Yeah.
And then you want to turn around with Scorch Earth and so on and so forth. But if he doesn't have the HP pool to back it up, he's just gonna die.
Relocate up to the top lane. DK Phobos actually missed out on that blink stun. As you said, it's not instant. So Sumail was able to bounce himself back to the Remnant, and that's going to be a missed opportunity for VP. They're going to try and make the most of it, though, by bursting down the wave and taking this Tier 1 tower in the top lane. But the Glyph is there, and there is a rotation out from EG, a two-man smoke. Let's see if they can get here in time. If they get to the team fight, we'll have some TPs out. But doesn't look like VP. They seem to know what's going on. They're gonna back up, but yeah, I like the way that you described the way that why Doom is going for this kind of stat and tankier build, because you do have these like 3 different glass cannon heroes of EG, right? The Amber Spirit needs to sit in the back. And,
yeah, he's a protector.
Yeah,
and he also needs to be up in front to disable blinks. They have the Tombstone, but
right.
Generally you drop Tombstones reactively after they've blinking or after someone initiates, but they don't really have good jump aside from maybe Ember Spirit, but you don't want him to Remnant in. So generally you're going to get initiated on, and you want to try and avoid that clean jump as best you can.
Boy, this is not a fun game for an Ember Spirit. Sumail's going to have to play this really well, because not only do we have the blink stun, DK Phobos, we've got the blink of the Tiny, but now we also have an Orchid coming in for G. So he doesn't actually go for the Axe build.
Barely avoided from them. Yeah, those 2 kills on Queen of Pain with the Shackles on Windranger were really important, because Arteezy could kind of be compared to the Queen of Pain at this point. And if Queen of Pain had an Orchid, they could just gank the Ember Spirit with him relocating. Whereas generally, if Slaughter is farming off somewhere, you think you can farm safely with the Ember Spirit, as well as the Wind Ranger. Wind Ranger is also very vulnerable to an Orchid at this point in the game, but it hasn't been that timing where you're like, oh god, he has Orchid. It's just like, oh, okay, he has.
Oh, Sumail. Oh, I think he thought he was going to be able to get away from that one. He will be able to actually jump to the Remnant now. The turnaround with the Tombstone out, and the Doom already out on DK Phobos. They throw out their finger just to make sure he does go down. A good shallow grave will couple with the relocate out to make sure that the Tiny does survive, but they're going to be able to catch FNG. It seems like G, who's already thrown out his Sonic Wave. Well, actually, Sumail is actually really low from all that minus armor. Look at that. He's down to -30 between the combination of the Weave and the Amplify. Just the right clicks of G and that support were enough to threaten him. They do come back with a relocate, and Lil was already dead. It feels like that was just not the play, as I really thought they were just going to sacrifice Lil, but they bring back the Tiny too.
Queen of Pain missed a scream on the Ember Spirit. He had a regeneration rune on top of that, so if they don't get the kill, they blow so many cooldowns, and they don't even get any damage to stick on the Ember Spirit. And the EG were in place for that, with the helpful Soul Rip and whatnot, but they really needed an Ember kill. I don't think he had Remnant down, so he can't buy back and immediately come back, but that's a huge fight for them.
Oh, they're still gonna fight again. Even after VP lose one fight, they'll continue forward. And double chains down, DK Phobos, immediate bash onto Sumail. That's going to be problematic, and they keep him alive with their shallow grave. Sumail is going to bounce himself back, though, and VP now have to focus on this frontline Tombstone until Sumail comes back forward, knows there's no shallow grave, but he's now exposed to DK Phobos trying to go for that kill with the amplified damage. He needs a bash desperately, but he's not going to get it. EG, they win yet another team fight. The TP in. Don't tell me VP are going to continue to move forward with this one. Illidan is now ready to go with his Blink Dagger. He's going to jump immediately forward, manage to get PPD, but another great stun. God comes forward, but they manage to burst down Lil, and Illidan's going to be stuck combining between Universe and Sumail. He's going to go down again, and VP, they showed a lot of intensity and willing to just push uphill time and time again. You said that VP, they're brave like that. They're willing to recognize their mistakes and move forward and not back down from their aggression, but it seems like this time around their aggression is actually going to be their downfall.
4 out of 5 times it looks really good, and you're like, wow, they're destroying. 1 out of 5 times it's the chain feed. And that was
the chain feed.
That's like, I think 9 heroes or something crazy.
Yeah, that was absurd. 9-16, and obviously with that much of a one-sided team fight, EG will easily take Roshan for themselves. And
yeah, they could have like stalled, right? And you just go for quick picks with your blink and relocate, and then you just outscale them because you have the Tiny. But they, got a little bit too jump happy and it requires like perfect execution, and one slight misspell, like the Queen of Pain Sonic Wave, is just going to set you back so far. Honestly, if that hit, this game would be way different.
Battle Fury for the Ember Spirit complete by 21 minutes.
Doom's out of control in that worth.
It certainly is. What do you think about the Vlads?
They need armor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a given. I'm surprised he didn't get armor earlier, but he did have the Wildkin creep for a decent amount of time, so that was kind of nice for him and his team.
But what about, because he's so far ahead in net worth, what about more significant armor items like
his job's
Shivas?
still the same. He can get one later, but his job's still to tank up, be in front, get vision, absorb spells, and doom high priority targets while providing vision for your team and, you know, being a buffer for Ember Spirit and Wind Ranger, who are still fairly weak at this point in the game. So,
right.
You know, BKB. Oh, actually, he's going to switch things up and go for a Shadow Blade.
Oh.
Radiant's
Is that?
under attack.
Are we going to see a Silver Edge later on to take away the Craggy?
I don't think he needs it. It's more so they can actually look for more opportunities. He's actually their jumper, right? He's a hero that goes in first. You don't want Ember Spirit to go in because he just dies like a fly if caught out. So they're trying to... They anticipate that VP strategy is going to be split up, split push, outscale with Tiny.
Yeah.
And the way you deal with split push is to pick off. But Blinks generally aren't enough versus other Blinks, especially if you don't have instant cast, which Doom does not anymore, and you need a Shadow Blade to scout out. But they have a Sentry.
Oh, the Shackle Shot is not actually going to be able to latch, and Illidan comes forward, managed to get off the stun before he's doomed up, but now they're just going to go on to RTZ, but it looks like VP are going to be on full retreat here. Lil doesn't have a relocate for another 20 seconds, so it looks like they may have to just give up on Illidan. He's taking him a lot, but it's not going to be enough. As Sumail comes in, gets the double chains, the lockdown of the Shackle Shot will make sure that no, he actually barely managed to escape ahead of the Sleight of Fist and should be able to TP out DK Phobos, maybe the other survivor, as his blink is on cooldown. Power Shot, no, that's not enough, so he will be able to get out thanks to the sprint movement speed, but another great fight for Evil Geniuses taking control of the game. And I just wanted to add, I really like your point about the Shadow Bladed, especially against the Tiny Wisp, who, you know, are known for split pushing, and the Blink Dagger, oftentimes the Blink Dagger initiation, even if you do manage to catch the Tiny before he can blink backwards, it doesn't mean a whole lot, because the Wisp is going to be sitting so far back ready to go with the relocate. But if you have the Shadow Blade, you can actually go and try and scout out the Wisp and take away that escape mechanism.
Yeah, if you get a crit, he's at like half HP, and again, Sumail just homes in on the Wisp and just takes him down every time.
Peter, look out, Peter. Oh, nice stun. Once again, he is so on point with these Earth Spikes, and now the Invisible Universe comes in. He's going to try and burst down Lil nice and quick. Another 4 seconds. The damage isn't quite enough from that, and they will be able to get out. The Invis left for G to grab, but that's a relocate gank that fails.
They need a Glimmer really badly on Radiant's side to
Lil.
help. Yeah, for Lil.
Yeah.
Without a Glimmer, I think he's just going to die every time. There's like... that was without Finger, and he still almost died. So in a real team fight, he's just going to get fingered and crit once, stray power shot, like level death, decay.
He's trying to finish up his mech first, and our Dazzle actually has Medallion, which I'm going to presume we're going to see a Solar Crest eventually.
They thought the early game was going to go a lot better, and all they needed was to win one more team fight, and then they would have been able to take Roach down with a Slardar, but one botch fight just set their game plan completely off course, and now they're just trying to struggle to get back to par against EG. And Ember, I think, is playing really well too. He's up against a lot of odds in this.
Yeah, we mentioned fairly early on, all 3 cores had an item that was designed to kind of shut down the Ember Spirit, 2 Blinks and an Orchid. And he's still second in net worth, only to the Doom at this point.
Is under attack.
Universe, with his Shadow Blade, starts scouting out their own jungle. But unfortunately, he's not going to catch VP. He may have been spotted out by that mid counter ward with the creep vision, not sure. Maybe that's why they backed up so
you can still sense
so easily.
VP's like hesitation and fear going into the next fight. They know that like one or two team fight losses means they lost the game, so they're very close to losing the game. So they want to take like the perfect fight where they force EG into a chain feed position. Oh, let's jump and burst down someone. Oh, someone wants to come in and maybe soul rip or go for a stun and heal them, and then you just keep diving and chasing with your blinks, with your extra move speed, sprint and tether. That's what they want, and they have incredible chase. So as long as EG plays as a cohesive unit, Doombringer out in front, so that if he dies, everyone else can, either fall back or commit depending on the situation. And I think VP is about time to smoke. You want to, I think, smoke 2 or 3 times and get control for the next Roshan so that Tiny can get back up in terms of net worth.
Yeah, if they actually get just a couple of pickoffs, that could mean the mech finish up for the Wisp. You can start going into the BKBs that we're talking about, both on the Queen of Pain and the Slardar, and then obviously you have a lot that the Tiny needs to build into. Jump forward here. G is going to be in a spot of trouble here because they're trying to chase down a hasted Ember Spirit. Oh, not quite enough burst damage. Arteezy's going to be stunned up. Looks like he got craggied, actually. Will try and go for the blink out, but not in time. They keep the damage on him. Meanwhile, DK Phobos actually trying to stall up the retreat of Evil Geniuses. Nice Shalgrave just in time for DK Phobos. Looks like he's still going to be taken out here. Illidan's going to be taken out by the Doom as well. And these heroes on the side of VP can actually do enough to protect their cores as they do successfully stall up EG's retreat. But the thing is, EG just turn and fight and handedly win. 4 heroes for the 1 pickoff on Arteezy.
And again, they're just put in a terrible position trying to kill an Ember Spirit with another good rune. And I must say the Quap having the Orchid has been a big mistake in retrospect. It was a very good idea at the time. He had a decent lane that he could farm in at least, and good heroes to Orchid. But just those 2 deaths, if he had a point booster, he would probably survive those ganks, at least probably one of them, and they'd have the burst taken down now. But now it doesn't really matter that he has an Orchid. He doesn't have the HP to back it up. He can't blink in ever, and his other two cores, one got fingered, one got doomed. So it's kind of up left to Queen of Pain for her to do the damage, but she can't.
But Lil, even if he does get caught here by Universe, he'll still be okay, and it looks like he won't.
The Universe is constantly stalking them. They don't ever feel safe. His presence around the map is kind of felt everywhere. No one wants to farm out alone. No one really is safe in team fights. They're all where is he? And no one wants to get doomed. And at the same time, they can't carry a gem because they're too far behind. So this next Roshan in the fight prior is going to be super important for VP.
Well, they finished up the Aghanim Scepter on Illidan at the very least, but you can kind of see exactly what you're talking about from the way that VP are very much grouped up. Earlier, DK Phobos and Illidan were actually farming a hard camp together, and that just kind of says so much about the fear and paranoia of the Doom Shadowblade at this point.
And Doom is just always one item ahead of where VP want him to be, and now he has BOTs, so on top of having to deal with the invisibility, now you have to deal with the global mobility from the Doom, who can also TP onto zombies, for example. So there's really no safe place.
Arteezy not actually managing to latch that shackle shot. And Illidan's actually trying to punish him for it, but he does run headlong into the rest of VG, which is going to force out the defensive relocate. VP, they aren't very far away, so the rest of VP can surge forward and try and fight this one, but do they really want to? Maybe it's worth just giving up the Wisp at this point in time.
Is an Ag Scepter on Undying.
Yeah.
So much for him falling off.
Yeah, now you've got that 10 strength. As Blitz was putting it earlier, he just takes away Ogre Clubs from the enemy team. You buy an Ogre Club, he's like, nope, that's mine now. Every decay.
Yeah, so it's 10 strength and 140 damage.
Oh, they try and get the Avalanche stun. Oh, actually, I think Illidan was just farming the creep wave.
It's also really good versus heal, too, because their max HP is significantly lowered.
Yeah.
Lil only has 55 strength. They're taking away a quarter of his HP, almost.
At least FNG will feel really good about his heals, though. You'll look at that, look at the percentage of HP. He goes up so much.
So strong, that. And the urn, it heals me to full. The efficiency.
That efficiency, thank you, Undying. 11 to 23, 30 minutes in, EG obviously holding quite a significant advantage. 10k lead, 15,000 experience at this point.
They have to make a move for the next Roche. If they give Ember one more Roche, or even Wind Ranger, who has caught back up and can proceed into her next damage item, then they can't really count on them outscaling because they won't have any map control. So maybe the Slaughter BKB will catch him off guard, but you can just doom him and then kind of focus down the Wisp and kite the Tiny at the same time. So it's going to be difficult. and on top of that, they don't have good vision around the pit. They have one ward, but it's far to the right, and it's about to expire, and Roshan's about to respawn.
Yeah.
So it looks like they aren't even wanting to defend that, hoping for the split push out farm to be their key to victory.
EG were a bit unlucky on the timing. It's only just now spawning up. Universe moving forward doesn't really want to be looking at the Tiny, searching for the Wisp right now, but won't be able to ensure that. EG will get this Roshan, it seems. VP are not contesting. And they know. I mean, it was such a late Roshan spawn that VP have to know, and they're actually just actively choosing not to fight around it.
They also don't have any sentries. Like, they are just gonna get jumped by Doom every single time. No sentries, no dust, no gem. And they're just broke. Broken spirit, broken bank accounts, broken bones.
VP finding a way to get that money, but split pushing is the only thing they can really do. You can see God is just bouncing himself in and out. Hiding in the trees, kills a creep wave, goes back to the trees. Team Universe is actually hoping to be able to find him out.
Their line of strength is not split pushing. It's not like they have a Nature's Prophet.
Yeah.
Split pushing is like plan like C for them.
Yeah.
Maybe even D. Because they thought they could be able to fall back on Roshan. They thought they could fall back on Blink pickoffs and relocate pickoffs, but their options are pretty much just farm.
VP mid laner, he seems pretty content. This whole jungle area just seems to be G spot. Hanging out, waiting for the trees, cutting creep waves when he can. But EG are just going to barrel down the bottom lane and look to take that tier 2 tower. There is still the split pushing capabilities of the Tiny Wisp. Universe is going to put a stop to that one. This is what we're talking about with the Shadowblade initiation. Lil is just going to abandon Illidan because he knows he's definitely dead. The only question is whether or not Illidan can get away from this one. Arteezy is searching for the shackle shot right now, but can't actually throw it out as he knows that Illidan's just going to TP out. That happens. He blinks away, TP's out, and EG won't be able to stop him. Meanwhile, what happened to our Queen of Pain? He got spotted out by Ember Spear.
Yeah, haste rune on Ember Spirit, it looks like. So what options do they have now? Can't split push.
They can't ever really,
Yeah, I would have liked to see them take a fight around Roach though, because I think it's just going to get worse after the Aegis. But it's kind of an all-in. If you lose that Roach fight, you just lose the game.
Run, DK Bobos, run! Oh no! They managed to miss out on the chains and fist combination. So there it is, the Solar Crest now for the Dazzle.
They still can focus down people even through PKB because of their massive minus armor through Amp.
Right.
But I don't think they have enough right-click damage to back it up. Tiny still working on the AC, and Doom still kind of unhindered, moving out around unhindered in every single fight.
Now that he's got a Shivas, his chasing potential is so much better than before.
Yeah, he doesn't need to go PKB.
Right.
A lot of HP, a lot of armor. Just all you need.
Where do you go for the AC as well? The way Eternal Envy would build his Doom back in the day.
AC
Double armor
hard
item.
is fine.
Yeah.
I guess no one else is going to build AC, so he should probably build AC. But
Yeah.
you also you want to keep your HP to armor ratio pretty decent. You don't want to be too fluffy, nor do you want to be too low on HP. But I mean, he can go easy. I don't think they have enough burst to kill him.
I like the way Lil is adapting to this now. He is going to be doomed up, so maybe tethering into Illidan wasn't the greatest idea, but they managed to actually stop that TP. Lil runs back right into the open arms of Zamail. Nice toss back from Illidan, just hoping he will to get the space to blink out. And once again, they do save him. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, they have already taken out the Dazzle. Looks like PPD is going to be going down to the Orca. No, the heal comes in just in time from Fear and saves his fellow support's life. And now G's going to be run down by Arteezy, just fearlessly diving into that tier 3 tower, knowing that the blink was on cooldown for G, and picks up that additional kill. So both top lane, even if they don't get more than just the Wisp, that's a success. And same goes for the middle lane. EG splitting their resources, but winning both engagements.
Tower has fallen.
Now the net graph is just out of control. 15,000 is kind of insurmountable even for a West Tiny.
Dire's bottom tower.
VP are going to be hard pressed to win this game number 2, and it seems like we may have a full series on our hands. But we'll see. 30 seconds until the Queen of Pain is back up. They're pushing down the top tier 2 at the same time as pushing down middle. This is how in control EG feel. Illidan actually jumps forward, will be able to get to some of the combination. RTZ finally does go down, but of course he's got that Aegis. Illidan needs to be able to survive through this one. FNG, Shellgrave, no, not in time. And Lil, now he's going to be the target. There's going to have to use Shellgrave there, but RTZ hits the shackle shot. DK Phobos hits a great stun, but FNG goes down. The damage is just too great now. And EG just take over the base. They do have God back, but Evil Geniuses, they didn't really blow much for those kills. And they're still plenty healthy. Jump in, trying to pop RTZ, not going to be good enough damage. And Illidan, he jumps forward, that's going to be a dieback.
That should be game at this point. So, very well played by EG. They really held on in that mid game. I didn't expect their team fight and execution to be so darn good. And dealing with those double blinks when you don't have any blinks on your own and you have an underfarmed Wind Ranger, it really requires like precise timing, precise like shackles and tombstone placement and whatnot. And EG just really excelled at dealing with VP's lineup.
So Virtus.Pro, they gave us quite the show in game number 1, but the Evil Geniuses, the TI champs, even the series out 1-1. Who's going to be taking it? Who's going to be going home?